Remember Made in China? Get ready for Made in Vietnam. This Southeast Asian nation isn't just your next vacation spot, it's quietly becoming a global economic powerhouse. But how did they pull it off? So stay tuned as today we uncover the secrets behind Vietnam's meteoric rise, from savvy trade deals to a workforce hungry for success. As Vietnam became one of the main places in the world for making things, big companies like Samsung, LG, and Intel started setting up here. This made Vietnam selling stuff to other countries grow a lot. When foreign businesses build factories in Vietnam, they mainly want to either make and sell things in Vietnam or use the country's resources like workers, land, and more to create things for other countries. A lot of companies chose the second option. Take Samsung, for instance. They slowly made Vietnam their main place for making smartphones and then sent those phones all over the world from Vietnam. This really changed how much Vietnam sells to other countries. Now, Vietnam's selling stuff business is worth a big amount, $371 billion. The whole trading, which includes both buying and selling, is even bigger, going over $750 billion. This makes Vietnam one of the top 20 biggest traders globally, even bigger than its own economy, which was about $400 billion in 2022. But people don't always realize how important Vietnam's trading with other countries is. Many people, both inside Vietnam and around the world, might not fully understand how important it is to the country's money system. To understand why Vietnam selling things to other countries is so important, we need to look at what kind of things Vietnam sells and how it helps the country. Vietnam sends out a lot of different things with a wide variety of products. Knowing how the selling things to other countries business works is really important. Basically, when things get sent to another country, it's called exporting. This can include all sorts of stuff like electronics, clothes, food, and more. Anything real that gets moved by a ship, plane, or truck and gets sold in a different country is an export. In return, the country doing the exporting gets foreign money, usually in US dollars. This swapping of money is one of the main good things about selling things to other countries, but we'll talk more about why it's good later. Right now, let's check out what Vietnam sells the most. The info from the General Statistics Office of Vietnam for the first 11 months of 2022 shows that computers, electronics, and phones were the biggest part of what Vietnam sold, making more than $104 billion. After that, it was machines, worth about $42 billion, and then textiles at $34 billion. A big chunk of what Vietnam sells internationally is industrial stuff. But Vietnam also sends out a lot of farming things. In that same time period, the country sold billions of dollars worth of tea, coffee, rice, veggies, fruits, and even seafood. Just the seafood by itself was worth a huge $10.1 billion. We also need to look at where these things Vietnam sells are going. The United States is the biggest buyer of stuff from Vietnam, getting more than $101 billion worth from this Southeast Asian country. This shows how important the United States is as a friend in business for Vietnam. No other country buys as much from Vietnam. Not even China, which is a big neighbor in Asia, got only $52 billion in the same time. South Korea, which invests a lot in Vietnam, got around $22 billion. Meanwhile, ASEAN, which is a group of countries in Southeast Asia working together, bought about $31.1 billion worth of stuff from Vietnam. Vietnam sells a lot of things internationally, mainly because it's really good at making stuff. If it weren't for companies like Samsung, Vietnam wouldn't be doing as well in selling things. The boss of Samsung Vietnam says the company sold a huge $65.5 billion worth of stuff out of a total money earned of $74.2 billion. This big number shows how important Samsung Vietnam is for the country's money system. Understanding how much Vietnam sells things to other countries and who the main players are is one part of our talk. The other part is why selling things to other countries is important in general. Doing business with other countries is really valuable for any nation, and Vietnam is no different. Firstly, it lets Vietnam get to new markets and things it needs. In the past, before it started doing business with Western countries, Vietnam didn't have a lot of access to good stuff like electronics. But after making changes in how it does business, and when the United States started trade with Vietnam, lots of new things started coming into the country. At the same time, Doing business with other countries helps make local businesses better by putting them in contact with companies from different places. This makes them work better, come up with new ideas, and be more productive. Thirdly, doing business with other countries helps in building friendly relationships between nations and making the world a more stable place. For Vietnam, making trade deals and working with other countries makes Vietnam more attractive and stronger on the world stage. These friendly connections between countries are really important for a bunch of reasons, like solving problems, keeping everyone safe together, and facing big issues like climate change and health crises. When countries make deals to sell things to each other, there are often rules they have to follow, like treating people fairly and protecting the environment. By following these rules, Vietnam not only gets a better image around the world, but also shows that it's committed to doing things right and being responsible at home. Even though these good things have helped Vietnam grow and get better, there's one more really important advantage that comes from doing business with other countries: getting more money in foreign currencies. This made more things available to people in Vietnam, like better technologies, minerals, and even food. Secondly, many smart money experts say that doing business with other countries helps a nation grow its money and become more competitive. They see a clear link between selling things to other countries and getting more money invested, creating new jobs, and overall making the economy more active in a country. Getting money in foreign currencies is really important for Vietnam. When Vietnam sells things to a country like the United States, they get paid in US dollars. Vietnam can then use this foreign money to buy things from other countries. A usual thing in developing countries is buying machines and tools. According to the same info from the General Statistics Office we've been talking about, Vietnam bought machines and tools worth $41 billion. This shows that even though Vietnam sells finished things to other countries, it also buys machines and tools from outside to make more things at home. This way, Vietnam keeps selling things to other countries and making more factories. Foreign currencies play a crucial role in Vietnam's economy, enabling the import of vital goods like pharmaceuticals, $3 billion, and motor vehicles, $3.4 billion. This flow of foreign money also contributes significantly to Vietnam's foreign reserves, currently standing at $83 billion. The country's trade surplus, recording $12.4 billion in 2022, boosts these reserves, showcasing a net gain in foreign currencies. To grasp Vietnam's economic status today, we must delve into its key historical milestones. While the Doi Moi reform set the groundwork, Vietnam's entry into the World Trade Organization, WTO, in January 2007 marked a transformative phase. WTO accession mandated substantial trade liberalization, including tariff reduction, removal of non-tariff barriers, and adherence to WTO agreements. This move had an immediate impact, sparking increased trade, higher foreign investment, and a more diverse range of export partners. WTO membership expanded Vietnam's trade connections, lessening dependence on a single market. Key trade partners now include the US, EU, China, and ASEAN. Importantly, joining the WTO prompted a revamp of Vietnam's legal framework to align with WTO rules. This overhaul significantly improved the business environment, attracting more foreign investors. This transformative period has propelled Vietnam into a major global player. However, challenges persist. Economic downturns like those in the US can reduce demand for Vietnamese exports, affecting GDP and jobs. Additionally, trade tensions between major powers such as the US and China pose risks. While Vietnam may benefit initially as an alternative manufacturing hub, ongoing geopolitical issues could impact its sustainability. But despite these challenges, Vietnam has become a big deal in the global manufacturing industry and is a friend to other countries.